is over. Brian H. Waters here, live to you. Haps news as the Ravens just dropped a big one in New England. They lost to those stinking Patriots. And let me get this lighting together. There we go. Yeah, not a game that we wanted. And I see people want to laugh in the chat. Cool. I'm gonna be straight up. I ain't in the mood. But what's up, Pablo? I love Haps News because this gives me a platform to speak my mind, and that's what I'm gonna do. Bottom line is, I don't like New England. I didn't like it when I lived there for 2 years, and yeah, the weather. I mean, I'm not gonna say that's the only reason why the Ravens lost. They lost because they forgot how to play call. I don't understand a lot of the stuff. I know a lot of people was talking about Greg Roman. Now, let me be full disclosure here. I understand my place. I understand that I don't say, what's up, Tavon Mason in the building. I don't watch, I don't spend hours and hours of football, but sometimes I'm just sitting here watching this and I watch you compare and contrast and you look at in different situations, you see like Greg Roman will call great plays. I see great plays. And then all of a sudden, boom, when it matters most, a blown call. It was a play earlier when they win a wildcat on a 4th and 1. Why would you do that? What? You got Lamar freaking Jackson. And I know I said Lamar slander would be not tolerated on my timeline, simply because it's my timeline. If I want to block somebody, I can, and that's what I will do. But here's what I will say. It's one thing to say criticisms of the game, and it's another to do slander. Let's make that clear. The criticism I have with Lamar Jackson is you don't see the swag. Last year, it was like, okay, go. And I feel like maybe it's a lot of chatter in his ear. Maybe people are saying, you know what? Lamar, you're running too much. You need to preserve your body. And maybe he's saying, okay, that's true. So it was a lot of times in this game where you realize, okay, the ball's just not catching. Some people just aren't catching balls. Mark Andrews had a play right there to him, but he was looking to make the next move and before he had the ball in his possession. So I'm looking, and it was a play where Lamar, I mean, he went on a run, but he could have ran it sooner. There was a couple plays like that. So thanks to everybody for joining in. Pablo, thanks for the gifts. Ashley, thanks for the gifts. I appreciate it. Yes, and Tavon says it best. Now, Tavon is NFL. He is a former NFL player. So he even saying it. He has running space, but he second guesses it. And that's what I see. The first quarter, what I saw was Lamar Jackson looked like he had his swag back. I haven't seen that swag this year, and that's the thing that's irritating me as a Ravens fan is where's that swag? And out of all teams, the Patriots. And it reminded me, I still don't like him. I thought, when they got Cam Newton, want to root for him, one of my favorite vaccine play. No, he plays on the wrong team, so he's the enemy right now. And it's very, very, I think twice, maybe 3 times because the times I was a Cowboys fan, so I rooted against them. But of course, Ravens Twitter is going nuts. Ricky G, this isn't a game they should have lost, and this year is the disappointment. Is last year the games where they were on prime time, they won. Every game that was on prime time, or every game that was an A game in the A block, with the exception of the Chiefs, they won. This year, that's not happening. 3 losses, all the games. The game on Monday Night Football, the big hype, Lamar versus Mahomes, boom, loses. The Steelers, the undefeated Steelers coming in to Baltimore. The referees robbed them on that one, but that's a different story. They lose. Then this game right here, a winnable game. But then the lack of urgency down the line, the lack of urgency. And Mike Patton says you're experiencing what I've seen with Greg Roman as an offensive coordinator. I believe it. I definitely believe it. And maybe he's one of those. I hate to say this right now, but I'm gonna have to put him in this category. Maybe he's a Buck Showalter, where he can get you right there to the land, but then he can't get to the next spot. Lamar Jackson's not good. This OBO. Lamar Jackson not good at throwing the ball. Marquise Brown's the number one on most teams. No, I don't feel like they're keying in on him. They are keying in on Marquise Brown, but it's also play calling. Lamar does have an opportunity to get some better touch on the ball. Shout out to my boy B Rich, who we was talking about that, and I was like, okay, you know what? I agree. He could get some better touch on the football, right? Everything doesn't have to be a bullet pass. But we're not going to act like Lamar Jackson isn't a throwing quarterback. We're not going to act like Lamar Jackson isn't an NFL quarterback. Everybody always wants to say, oh, he can't throw. What's up, my boy, Daniel Artest? Happy birthday, by the way. Celebrate his birthday. Make sure y'all check out Daniel on here. He's a part in the Daniel Artest pod. And Mike Patton understands it, and Mike has been obviously studying this. He's a verified reporter right here on Haps News. If you don't get a chance, make sure you check out his Titans preview as he covers the Tennessee Titans right here for Haps News. And he's saying Greg Roman's a limited offensive coordinator. Exactly. They got, and we've seen this before. Don't forget. The Ravens lost to the Washington football team in 2012, and John Harbaugh had to make a decision. And what did he do? He got rid of Cam Cameron. So there's going to have to be the center. Oh, man. He's got what's up, my boy Kebone watching. Kebone, I'm upset. This just makes no sense. There's no reason they should have lost this game. The center, I understand it's raining. Take your time. The bad snaps, when you're working in the conditions, if you're outside working and you're running, you have to take your time. It's like when you're driving a car, you have to take your time. You can't go the same speed. And that's what happened. It was too many bad snaps. New England, yeah, they used to it. But there was, like I said, there was some questionable calls, but it doesn't come down to that. It comes down, and questionable spots, definitely. But it comes down to that the defense just, as my man James Williams said, showed up like toilet paper. They were super soft. The bottom line, the defense was super soft tonight, and the adjustments didn't get made. New England ran all over them. They did. They ran all over them, and that's not what you're used to seeing. And quite frankly, I was like, oh, man, this could be a 200-yard game. Thank goodness it wasn't. But, who that to the Super Bowl, son? Yeah, okay. I don't know. It's too soon for me to say the Saints. I know that Drew Brees got hurt. I hope he's not hurt too long. But it was really cool to see how they used Jameson Winston and Taysom Hill, I think that's his name, in there. Mike says the whole situation reminded me of the Cap situation where he was limited there too. He never really developed Cap as much as he could, and he never evolved that offense. Same with Lamar right now. So in that case, what do the Ravens do? And people say, okay, y'all 6-2, or 6-5 and 6-2. Now 6-3. It doesn't matter. I heard that from a lot of Washington football team fans. Look, the standards are different on the north side of 95 than it is down there. Down there, y'all just want to fill seats. The Ravens, they expect to win. That's the reason why they have 2 Super Bowls within 20 years, because they expect to win. Bashadi expects to win. So, I know it says, bro, the rain and wind tonight here in New England, Lamar should have ran more and more rollout plays. Exactly. That's what I was saying. It should have been, he should have ran more. I just think somebody's in his head. I don't see Lamar Jackson having that swag he once had the last 2 years. And you can look, if you just look at the eye test, anybody can see there's not much fun. Shout out to my boy Corey Cooper chiming in. He says, what's up? It comes down to the Ravens run defense. I'm going to take it back. When the Ravens were going to draft a serviceable wideout, best of franchise history. Mason Smith developed on other squads. That's true too, but I also think that's the one thing everybody's been waiting for, where the Ravens draft that guy, that can be the man at wide receiver. We saw, so many people, Travis Taylor, Brashard Perriman. I'm wearing this jersey, but he was a second round pick, Torrey Smith. But when are they going to draft that number one threat, that, excuse my language, that killer, But in that case, I think there is a lot of potential here. I see more potential in Hollywood Brown than I saw in Travis Taylor, Brashard Perriman. And even Mark Clayton. I think, but I just feel like something is missing. Something is missing in the offense. So, shots fired. Are you? Oh, okay, I don't know what that means. Game plan. What's the game? What is the game plan? Yeah, Damian Harris, he definitely owned the Ravens in the first half. That's no doubt about it. It was brutal, but they still had a chance to win the game. At the end of the day, they still had a chance to win the game. There was a lack of urgency in there. There was not too many rushes on the sideline. And I think that maybe somehow it just feels like Lamar Jackson was overcoached. He's like letting people get into his head instead of just kind of being, let go. We knew going into this season the development was going to be sort of limited. You knew that, like, when you look at these teams, really, I'm really trying to think. Miami, probably the surprise team, but most of the teams are kind of like been hanging around, because the squads were already together. But, man, yeah, the Patriots. But the Ravens going to have to bounce back. Not short week, but short preparation. Because to me, I've always looked at it every hour in between games count. So people say every days, but every hour in between games count. Shout out to my brother, Wendell, jumping in. We can't have the late starts. Either our game plans are wrong from the jump, or the Ravens are taking too long to execute the game plan. That's true. That is absolutely true, bro. And I did like, though, the fact that, to me, like, when I looked at this, Lamar Jackson, everybody always wants to, like, criticize him. Everybody, and granted, real football fans knew he was not going to duplicate the numbers that he did last year. You look at Cam Newton. He came back the second year after they went to the Super Bowl, had that 15-1 season. He didn't duplicate those numbers. But, if it's anything that's encouraging, you look at it like, okay, at least, he didn't have the best game, but he didn't have like a bad game. He didn't make too many bad decisions. Yes, he had 3 possible picks, but they didn't happen. So, Ravens need some luck at drafting a wide receiver. Hollywood is a victim of lack of imagination offensively. Everyone thinks he was taking a shot at Lamar, but maybe he was taking a shot at his offensive coordinator on social media. I thought the same thing. I never thought it was a shot at Lamar. Never thought it was. I went back and looked at the play. So that was a game I was, right there working. I saw Lamar. I mean, I didn't see how far Hollywood was open, but when I saw it from a different angle, just trying to, mimic timing and everything, I felt like the game plan was probably obviously to go to Snead, but I felt like Hollywood wasn't as open as like the route could have been jumped. Bro, I said that earlier. Too many bad snaps. The center position has to be addressed. Bottom line, and there's something's missing on that offensive line. And Corey says, "What's up with them not using Ingram?" That's what I was wondering. He was definitely a vital part last year. Maybe he's still hurt. Maybe he during the game. I don't know. Maybe he during the game he tweaked something. Because he was definitely a huge part of the Ravens offense last year. But there's definitely, it was the injury bugs was out tonight. And I tweeted, don't put that cover, leave EA Sports, please. Please. You have never gone to I-95 South. You have never gone to I-95 South. Go there. I don't know. Go put Terry McLaurin on the cover. Right? Stay away from Lamar Jackson. Stay away from Baltimore. If Hollywood Brown breaks out, do not come to him. If Marlon Humphrey, do not come to him. stay away from Baltimore because, quite frankly, it's just not a good look. We saw what happened when Ray Lewis was on the cover. The team was trash. They didn't make the playoffs. Ray Lewis got hurt the last week of the season. Well, he didn't play the week 17. Now Lamar, he's had a knee injury. He's been battling. And then the team is just not good. No, I'm not going to say they're not good. There's been a lot of injuries. Just like when Tom Brady was on the cover, we saw one of his players get hurt. No, I saw that. No. So yeah, the bottom line is stay away. Throw the Madden cover away. Just put John Madden back on the cover. Put the broadcasters on the cover. Throw the Madden cover away. Tell them not to play video games too. I get it. Like I was talking to my godbrother about it, about the cover of Madden, and I said, man, I wish Lamar wasn't on the cover this year, win the Super Bowl first. And he was like, bro, think about this. You 20 some odd years old and they come at you, a game that you done played all your life as you want to be on cover. Are you really turning that down? Like, you got a point. Patrick Mahomes is just in a different league and he got hurt last year too, but obviously they won the Super Bowl, first person to win the Super Bowl while he was on the Madden cover. If Las Vegas beat KC again, then for real, I would be interested to see that. I would actually love to see. I like watching the Raiders, not just because I got, one of my boys works for the team, but I actually always enjoy watching them. I would like to see that happen. I would definitely like to see the Raiders. I don't want to see Kansas City win again. They're not my team, so when it's not my team, I don't want to see dynasties. I've always stick by that, especially in basketball. Respect for the Warriors, but that got old, But y'all who are on here, make sure you jump on Haps News if you haven't done so. Feel free if you want to, reward your boy, as we say. Go ahead, hit the sponsor button. Hook me up with a cup of coffee or hit me up with some of the gifts. Appreciate it. But also, check out a lot of other cool journalists on here. Like I said, my man Mike Patton in the chat, very active tonight. He does a really good show in depth as far as covering the Tennessee Titans, but he also talks a lot of other football, and I'm pretty sure he'll bring some of his other sports expertise here as well. Shout out to my friend Ashley Baker. She was on here earlier talking sports and about nothing but sports, and I bombarded her show, so I'll be on there Tuesday night as we talk about that. And I think we're going to talk some of the NFL draft. Daniel Artest was in here earlier doing he should be coming on again tonight talking some NBA stuff. Daniel Artest is a professional basketball player. I mean, if you know the last name Artest, you should know it sounds familiar. Yes, he is the brother of the great, I think should be Hall of Famer Ron Artest, now known as Meta World Peace Stanford. Meta Artest Stanford. So make sure you check out his show as well. Yeah, and Mike just confirmed. So he said I'll expand more pretty soon. But Ravens, Titans next week. Man, it's going to be tough because if you can't stop this guy, how in the world are you going to stop Derrick Henry? How? And then that should be a revenge game. And again, it's not a prime time. Well, it's not a primetime game, but it's an A game. So if you don't know television, what you'll know is that this is a game that if your local team isn't playing, they're going to show this game, just like they did with the Ravens and Steelers. So with that being said, it's like, man, everybody's going to get a chance to see this. The Ravens are dropping the ball. So it's like when I hear these national reporters and these so-called experts talking about, and my brother says, yeah, the Colts beat them. We can beat them too. Absolutely. And I hear all these experts saying, is Campbell out for the season? I don't think so. I hope not. I'm the way Boyle took that hit. I think he's going to miss a couple weeks though. How much does it hurt losing to the Patriots, especially this year's Patriots? Belichick's Belichick. I've always said, as much as I hate the Patriots, thought I wasn't going to hate him this year, but I'm back to it. I can do that. I think the trophy should be called the Bill Belichick. Bottom line, he's the greatest coach I've ever seen. He eats, breathes, and sleeps coaching. And, they kept putting the camera on his son, being very disrespectful to the defensive coordinator because they said he's the linebackers coach, but he's got all this influence So it's like whatever. And come on, WBAL, they just showing all bad highlights. But I was saying earlier, the Ravens will, they take on Tennessee next week. It's going to be tough. You got to stop Derrick Henry, bottom line. But Tannehill, that's another one. What about him? You can't let him go out there thinking he's Peyton Manning. You just can't. You can't make him think he's Peyton Manning. Shout out to everybody. Over 400 people tuning in. So I definitely appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. And like I said, make sure you share. This is available on Twitter, Periscope. It's putting the Reddit chats. It's putting all over in different places. So if you would make sure Haps News is the app you want to have. It's the smoother presentation. You can also see the chats and you can interact with other people, and it's free. And if you it's free. So make sure you guys check the app out. Titans defense is bad, but they're also opportunistic. Yeah, the Ravens, the last year they made them look good, but the difference is last year they said they may have taken them lightly and they wasn't fully prepared. This year they will be prepared. You can't let them come back into the house, And the thing is with the Titans and the Ravens, a playoff rivalry. If you've been paying attention to the history of these two teams, you'll know that the underdog always wins in the playoffs. When the Ravens went there in 2000, the Titans were the number one seed. They won. Ravens won, When they played them in 2003, the Ravens was the top upper seed, and the Titans won. And then in 2008, Ravens stopped Chris Johnson and won. And then last year. So, that's the thing. What I think about Brady this year, Brady's Brady. I'm not a Tom Brady guy by any means, but he's Brady. He's an ageless wonder. I'm not one of those people to say he's over. I don't think he's going to win the Super Bowl this year, but I don't think he's like, he can go to he's 45 or 50. So Titans defense way worse than last year. And stopping AJ Brown in the game plan, that boy is good. Yeah, he is, and the thing is, the Ravens got injuries at the cornerback position. I mean, it's a lot of injuries on the team, bottom line, and injuries are part of the game, but you need people to step up. Shout out to excuse me. Shout out to Aaron Robinson joining in. Thanks for tuning in. Do you think Dez will be playing soon? I think it's a thing of the playbook or something. Maybe they trying to get him acclimated with the playbook, or I didn't understand why he wasn't available for tonight's game. He's somebody that I honestly believe that if he's on the field, people are going to respect him because of his name. So it would be nice. It would be nice to see him on there. It'd be nice to see him on there. At the same time, you have Marquise Brown and Willie Snead. And Willie Snead doesn't get the credit he deserves. That is a tough guy. I really enjoy watching him play. Maybe not the fastest or got the best hands, but he's a baller, and he's that person that you want on your team. Tom Brady, Tampa Bay has a stacked offense, yeah, but they're not undefeated. Just bottom line. So, excuse me. But man, I tell you, the Ravens just wasn't a good game tonight. Shout out to Mark. Oh gosh, Mark Reynolds, Mark Gunnels. I said Reynolds. Thinking of baseball. Mark Gunnels, my bro, joining in on Facebook, shaking my head. I know, Mark. I know Lamar Jackson's not Patrick Mahomes. Whatever. And before people say Kyler Murray, what an incredible play. I'm not going to do the comparison game. That's what a lot of times causes people to hate on other people, because we're so busy defending our guy that we don't respect other ones. I learned this earlier. It says, still proud of you and your success, bro. Appreciate that, Corey. Seriously, keep following your passion. You think Wilson is falling out of the MVP race? Who was your front runner award at this point? I think Mahomes will pull away soon. Yeah, I think Mahomes, he's just a guy. Some people may say Ben Roethlisberger, but personally, I think they had an easy schedule. But I definitely think Mahomes is the best player in the league right now. And as I was saying about, the comparison game, it's easy to if you're a Ravens fan, you want to pick apart things about Patrick Mahomes that's not like Lamar. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, it was Kobe and AI or Kobe and T Mac or Kobe and LeBron, all that, you know, LeBron and Melo. And so to me, in my mature years, said, look, I'm getting away from that. You know, I'm going to appreciate greatness. I'm going to appreciate a guy like Kyler Murray, a guy like Patrick Mahomes, a guy like Josh Allen, you know, so I'm going to appreciate these guys for what they do. You know, Steve should be a number 3 wide receiver in a good offense. He could be, but the thing is, he works hard. You know, you just think if you had him like last year, Miles Boykin, they said looked the best in before the season started. You know, and then all of a sudden, you know, he's not showing up. So offense, there has to be some adjustments made. But the problem is, see, last year, a lot of Ravens fans, you know, who really picked apart things, they was like getting mad at Greg Roman, and you should know this, Mike. A lot of them was getting mad at Greg during the season, but they were winning and they were rolling, and the Ravens were steamrolling. And I thought, like, when I was watching the beginning of this game, I said, okay, we're getting Lamar Jackson back. He got a swag back. Maybe Lamar Villas activates in November, December. But for whatever reason, you know, I don't know. He said the weather gave y'all no chance on that last drive. Can't even blame Lamar tonight. He played well. It's too bad Snaps killed y'all. Yeah, exactly. I mentioned that earlier, Mike. Mark, sorry. It was definitely that last drive. I mean, it felt like I'm not in conspiracy theories, but it felt like New England had a button and it was like, okay, boom, activate, because it was just bad. I mean, and it was also, you know, it was still lack of urgency on the Ravens' part, but it's hard to play out there, you know. But and so funny story. Last week I was working, and I'm not gonna lie, I never really held an NFL football, and I was playing. I was like, there was one sitting around, I was playing. I was like, wow. Okay, I'll never talk bad about the wide receivers catching the balls again. Things are like rock solid. And then somebody made the joke about Tom Brady. Said, well, you know, Brady's a little bit softer. So we found out, yeah, exactly. We found out Belichick controls climate control. You know, he wanted that win though. I don't think he's ever lost. Oh, yeah, he has. I'm going to say lost to Harbaugh twice in a row. He did in 2012 when the Ravens won in week 3 and then went on to win the AFC Championship game. But, you know, that's what one of those great rivalry matchups. We talk about Harbaugh versus Tomlin, obviously, for obvious reasons, but there's also Harbaugh versus Belichick, Tomlin versus Belichick. I mean, so many great coaching matchups, and those are chess matchups. You know, these coaches have great respect for each other. You could have said that back in the day when it was Andy Reid versus Jason Garrett, but we all know how that went. Need to give him more weapons. They want to load up and pay the defense, but not give him more weapons in on offense. That's always been the case in Baltimore, though. It seems like that's always been the case, and I get it, but there has to be a turnaround. It's like, so in baseball, oh my goodness, and it's just in, Nick Boyle suffered a season-ending knee injury. John Harbaugh stated that that's just what I feared from the jump. Nick Boyle suffers a season-ending knee injury. I just had that gut feeling when I saw it. I was like, you know, it just didn't look good. You saw, and I give credit to where the Patriots, shout out to them. They call for the referees and trainers, I should say, immediately. It's unfortunate. You know, he took a hit right on the leg, and you could just tell. Let me just put that up there for anyone just joining in. Can't even spell. That's the cool thing about Haps, that you can put notifiers up here. All right. Let's go ahead, and so there it is for people tuning in. If you're just tuning in, Ravens lose to the Patriots. Nick Boyle suffers a season ending knee injury, and it's so unfortunate. It is. It's just so unfortunate. It's definitely a big loss offensively. You kind of wish, if you're a Ravens fan, you kind of wish we still had Hayden Hurst. I heard, there was talks that he didn't want to be here or whatever, but she was like, dang, you just kind of wish they had him. What's your opinion on who's stopping Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh will be stopped soon. I don't see. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are overrated. I think they're a good football team. I think even I'll go say it's a great football team. But you got to look at their schedule. When you look at their schedule, first of all, this division plays the NFC East, right? So, well, all intents and purposes, that's 4 wins right there. Then on the AFC side, this division plays the AFC South. Houston's easy. Jacksonville's easy. Colts, respectable, but somewhat easy. And then I'm missing a team. Somebody will tell me. So you know that's funny. But yeah, they're just overrated. But who was it? Houston, Indy, Tennessee. So Tennessee's the tough one, right? But they beat them. So that's 8 wins right there. Then obviously the Bengals, that's 10 wins. The Browns, that's 12 wins. So and then the other teams they're going to face are the teams that was equivalent to them in the standings last year. So that would be the Bills, and I forgot, in the West. It's probably the Chargers or somebody. So the Pittsburgh Steelers have an easy schedule. They could easily be 15-1. I think the Ravens will get them back, honestly, because, it's a Ravens-Steelers game. They'll show up for that game. If you watch the game, and if you watch every snap of the game, the Ravens had them on their heels. But Lamar Jackson turned the ball over too many times in a bad position, so he didn't do the defense any favors. There were some questionable calls, some questionable pass interference calls. So they should be 7-1. It was too many turnovers in that game. So I do think that the Ravens are going to beat them, and but nobody in the NFC East is beating them. But then again, you never know. The Cowboys almost did, but I think the Ravens get them on Thanksgiving. They owe them that receipt. They'll go in there serious. Lamar Jackson, best believe he's had 2 bad games against the Steelers. You think he wants another one? No, not at all. So all that's going to be playing. John Harbaugh is a different person when it comes to Steeler week. So he's not having that either. Colts aren't easy. They have the number 1 defense in the NFL. All right, Mike, but they're respectable. I said, all right, maybe not easy, but they're respectable. But I don't think they've hit that next tier of football teams. And the argument could be made about the Ravens, but let's not act like the weather wasn't a factor tonight. Let's not act like that. You think the Colts could beat the Steelers? What week do they play? I'm very interested. I got to double check. Because that's also going to matter too. Like if it's a week 16 game, but I want to double check that. But let me see, make sure I got everybody's comments. Yeah, Hayden Hurst was definitely underappreciated. But yeah, when you look at it, I just think the Steelers are a beatable team. They don't have to play the Chiefs. If they had to play the Chiefs, they'd be in trouble. If this division was playing the NFC South, it may be a little different. But they do what you're supposed to do. You play who's on your schedule. At the end of the day, you play who's on your schedule. Yeah, they did beat the Titans on Thursday Night Football. So, and that's the thing. This effect in football, you can't always compare apples to apples or oranges to oranges, because you can have a team. You can have all right, the Ravens beat the Colts, right? But then the Colts beat the Titans. The Titans could easily, I ain't gonna say easily, but they could very well come in and beat the Ravens. So it's like this effect. So that's why they play the games. And you know, to Steelers' credit, they play who's on their schedule. And I get that. I respect that. They're playing who's on their schedule. But I do think, you know, Heinz Field, it's a graveyard for kickers, always has been. So it may be a little tough, but guess who's not scared of it? And guess who's won games there? Justin Tucker. So if he has to do it, whether it's in November or January, I believe he can do that. The Colts gave up the least sacks in the NFL as well. Yeah, you know, but they are the first team that Lamar Jackson came from behind and defeated. And quite frankly, I thought he was going to do it again tonight. I just think that there was some questionable calls. And we talked about wide receivers. I think they need to figure out how to get better routes for Hollywood Brown. You know, he had some good games last year. Obviously, week one, and he was playing with a bad foot. So I don't understand why they haven't really got him going. You know, you should really be trying to make him an elite wide receiver in this league. You drafted him in the first round, so you said like, "Hey, we're investing in our offense." So. But, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is going to be it for the night. I appreciate each and every one of you coming in as I vented. I still hate the Patriots. And, yeah, the Ravens dropped this one. Third one they dropped. That was in front of the world. Third big game they dropped. They aren't winning the big games. Last year they won the Monday night games or the Sunday night games. And it's a part of the growing pains. If you look back and, you know, there's always the comparison to Joe Flacco. Well, they won. They was 11-5. They bounced back as 9-7 the next year. And then they came back, I think it was like 10-6 and eventually 11-5 and then 12-4 and 11-5 went on to win the Super Bowl. But eventually they got it done. So these growing pains hurt. The sophomore slump, you know, but Lamar Jackson, 2 touchdowns tonight, 1 interception. The interception was, you know, a trash one, but it's still a pick. It's still going to count against the stats. But yeah, you got to move Hollywood Brown around more, you know, make the defense tired. That's what I hope they do. Hopefully, there won't be too much commotion, too much stuff that escapes the locker room. And maybe that's one of the things. Maybe the Ravens are missing that true locker room veteran leader. You know, but I mean, I do like what I see out of Mark Ingram. You know, I want to see what's going on with him. I definitely want to see him play more. But folks, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you check me out Tuesday on Ashley Baker's show About Nothing But Sports right here on Haps. Make sure you check out my podcast, Breaking Through the Glass Ceilings, on all major podcast platforms. Same with the Wrestling Realm on all major platforms as well as on YouTube. Till next time.